Hi, I'm Vipavi. I'm here to share my journey in learning and teaching science. I will provide examples of my opportunities, temptation, and distraction during my journey. During my undergraduate study, I had the opportunity to work on the project with 2 other friends. It is challenging. My advisor and friends are very supportive. We study and summarize our findings and share to others. During the internship, I had the opportunity to work with a scientist. I have learned to focus on the fundamental understanding. During my master degree study, I had the opportunity to work with researchers and friends. When I discuss the project with a colleague, sometimes I get lost. Instead of asking my colleague, I ask my friend who was there with me. I have learned to ask my colleague instead of asking my friend. I had the opportunity to travel with the team to meet the affiliated staffs and discuss on the project with them. We had the opportunity to have the local food and enjoy some events in the place that we visited. I appreciate all the support and encouragement from friends. I had the opportunity to be a graduate student researcher. The teacher taught me to use the pipette. I have learned to use the pipette correctly. When I used FTIR to analyze my sample chemical component, I placed the sample on the wrong side. I noticed that because the spectrum showed the same for the sample that has different components. I have learned to ask during the training or read the manual. When I use vacuum pump, my colleague taught me to use it for drying a wet solid. At that time, I did not aware that it cannot be used for the liquid, because if there are a lot of liquid, the liquid will go directly into the pump. I have learned to think about what could possibly go wrong and discuss with my colleague before I perform the experiment. I had the opportunity to be a teaching assistant in chemistry. When in the chemistry lab, I had the opportunity to lead and observe students perform their experiment. We went over the basic calculation and the safety precaution. When I prepare chemically exfoliated molybdenum disulfide, that was the step that I need to perform in an inert gas environment. I left it dry longer than the experimental procedure. When I remove it with the filter paper, the sample and filter paper ignite. I had to cover it with the cover glass to prevent oxygen, so I could stop the fire. I have learned to understand the reason for each experimental procedure, for example, the drying duration. I had the opportunity to be a participant in Global Young Scientist Summit 2022. I had learned to communicate the task, support others, and summarize lecture as soon as possible. Thank you for your attention.